Hello and welcome to DeFi Mum. This is Jenny, and today we are going to look at Compound again. And with me, I've got my husband, as always.
Hello.
And so last time we looked at Compound, we supplied some, right? And today we are going to look at borrowing.
Yeah. So last time in the first video with Compound, we supplied some tokens. So you can see here, this is the Compound interface. So we can see here we supplied some of these DAI tokens. So DAI is a stable coin designed to be one DAI equals $1. So we can see here that we put in 14.6 DAI, so roughly $14.6. So a very tiny amount. This isn't what you would do if you weren't kind of doing.
If you're a big trader, you wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
We're just learning. Well, I am just learning anyway. So
yeah, you wouldn't. This is the kind of uneconomic amounts of value we're doing, but it's a good way. It's a good way to experiment, and certainly if you're learning about this sort of kind of blockchain finance, then obviously you want to be careful not to put too much money in because things can go wrong. so that's what we're doing. We can see that actually at the moment we're earning almost 10% interest on that DAI. So even with this very small amount, we've earned almost 5 cents in about 2 weeks. So you can kind of see how it scales up if you were going to put a lot of money in. But the thing with something like Compound is the most sensible thing obviously is if you have tokens to put them in and earn an interest rate, and then also you earn some of this compound. So you can see up here we earn a little bit of this Compound token by using the Compound DApp. So we earn a little bit more. And you can see our interest rate overall is 14% because we're earning a little bit of this Compound. But if you were the reason that Compound works as a DApp is people basically lock their tokens into the DeFi DApp, and then other people, more adventurous people, are then borrowing the tokens that have been supplied in. So these are people who for whatever reason, for good or ill, kind of think that they can make more money than they're going to have to pay back by borrowing these tokens. Yeah. So you can see here, this is the interest rate that you will pay. So if you want to borrow DAI, the rate is currently 13.2%. So some people might want to borrow this DAI and think they can go and find some other opportunity on the blockchain that's going to earn them obviously more than 13%. So they're going to make a profit by borrowing as much as this DAI as they can, and using it. And then obviously at some point they have to pay it back. But if they've made 20%, then paying back 30% means they've made a 7% profit. So,
but then that changes all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes up or down. Yes. So these go up or down depending on how much demand there is. And you can see at the moment actually the interest rates for most of these things are quite high.
No fixed rates with this, is it?
No, there are some DeFi dApps where you can have fixed rates. So fixed rates are starting to come in, but at the moment on Compound at least that's not the case.
Okay. So how would you decide what to borrow? Does that sort of would you decide that from what purpose you have with your borrowing?
Yeah, I mean for most people, I would say you'd want to be careful about borrowing tokens because there's lots of people in blockchain and DeFi who will potentially say they're going to offer you like a big kind of profit.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily know that's going to be the case or not. So like anything, why would we borrow money? Well, obviously we borrow money to buy a house. That's called a mortgage. That's pretty standard for most people. We might borrow money. We have got a credit card, so we might kind of want to buy something now because we know we can pay it back when we get paid at the end of the month. There's different reasons why you might take on debt.
Yeah.
But in general, taking on debt is something that people do probably too easily. Not so much you, because you're very careful. But certainly, taking on kind of debt is quite easy to do in general. And obviously, I guess we all know that people take on. It's very easy to take on too much debt, and you kind of get in over your head.
Yeah.
So,
That's a bit sensible.
Yeah.
Is what. Yeah. So never. What do you say? Never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we should be. We're doing this this is like our educational channel, so we're going to do this for educational purposes. But I would generally suggest people don't borrow.
However, if you're
DeFi.
going to borrow, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
If you're going to borrow, this is how you go
Okay.
about.
so with our tiny amount, it doesn't really matter because we've only got $15, less than $15. So let's go and borrow some ETH. So all these tokens have different rates depending on the demand. So ETH is not really in demand. You can see it's only 3%, 3.18%. So anyway, let's go. So here we go. So we can borrow 80% of the value that we've put in. So the most we can borrow is just under $11. So I mean, we're doing this for kind of experimentation. So I'll go 0.005, and we can see that's actually $6. So we can go 8, or is that? No, it's 80%. That's too much. So 7, is that okay? No, it's still too much. 6. Okay, so happy there. So you can see. So we're going to borrow 0.006 ETH, which is $7.62. So this doesn't make any sense at all in the real world, but this is kind of what we're doing. So that's what we're going to borrow, and that is we're going to borrow basically 69.5% of the collateral we've got in. So you can't borrow from Compound unless you supply tokens on the left hand side of the column sort of thing. So
right.
So it's not like a credit card where you basically borrow money and you've not got any collateral. With anything on the blockchain, you have to put in value in the first place to borrow in the second place. So that's what we're going to do. Obviously, the other reason you wouldn't do it with this tiny amount is the gas fees are going to be very expensive. So the gas fees are just the fee you pay when you interact with the Ethereum blockchain. And at the moment, just because people are very interested in blockchain stuff, they're very high. So you would never do it for this amount of money.
No.
If in terms of economic kind of sanity. But so we're going to see what's going to happen. We see here. So we're actually paying. We're going to pay. This is a maximum, but we're going to pay a maximum of like $20 in gas fees to borrow.
$6.
So this is kind of like crazy, but it's not crazy because we're doing it to understand how it works. So we'll just hit that. So I should say we've the wallet we're using is MetaMask, which is just a browser-based wallet, and that was the little pop-up you saw was the MetaMask kind of prompt. And now we just have to wait basically until the Ethereum transaction is confirmed, which we're not in control of. It basically depends what's going on. Although it looks like it's gone through, to be honest. Let's have a look.
Yeah, you can see the borrow balance.
So now we can see our borrow balance is there. Oh yeah, it has gone. That went pretty fast. So you can see here now, on this side, on the supply side, we've supplied $14.62 worth of DAI, and we borrowed $7.62 worth of ETH. So
there you go. That's
there
how
you
you go about.
That's how you do it. And it does seem like pretty ridiculous, but for people who are I guess you would call sophisticated traders, that there are things that you might want to do. I mean, the most obvious thing is DAI is a stable coin, so the price of if you have $1,000 in stable coin, $1,000 of DAI, it's always going to be $1,000. That's what hopefully that's what DAI is designed to do. So for some reason you might want to keep a certain amount of your value in DAI, but you might also want to borrow something like ETH or something that you think is going to go up in price, because then paying it back, you don't do anything more with the ETH. You think the value of the ETH is going to go up a lot, so paying back the interest kind of doesn't matter. Or you can maybe stake this into some other DeFi DApp. I mean, certainly with some of these other.
So if I come back here then regularly to see what numbers are the numbers to kind of keep an eye on what are relevant. to see how things are changing. Is the interest there, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this wouldn't tell me how the price of ETH is changing on this page, would it? It wouldn't.
Well, potentially it would do. So this becomes the kind of issue when you take out debt, because we've taken out debt in ETH. So if the price of ETH starts going up,
Yeah.
then because this is all done in dollars.
Yeah.
So actually our debt will start to go up. So if the price of ETH doubled, then obviously what we've taken out in debt,
Yeah.
in dollars, will have doubled. And this is really one of the issues, is why you have to be very careful when you are borrowing in these sort of applications, because if the price of ETH goes up too much, obviously it doesn't make any sense for our borrowing to go up more than the collateral we've got in there.
Yeah.
So if that gets close,
Yeah.
then compound, the DApp will basically what we call liquidate our holding. So if the price of ETH is going up a lot,
Yeah.
then it will basically take our DAI to pay back the debt automatically, because
Right,
it's
yeah.
worried that we're going to suddenly have $15 worth of debt out and only $14.62 worth of collateral.
Yeah,
At that point, why would we ever pay back the debt? We would
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for us to do it. So in terms of how the kind of game theory of this works is, at that point, if we don't want to have our what we call our position liquidated, then we'd have to either pay it back, or we'd have to add more DAI into it. So this is actually quite a big issue, because in crypto, pricing goes up and down a lot. It doesn't go up 1% a day. It goes up or down 20 or 30% a day sometimes. So this is why you have to be very careful about these borrowing things. So they are. I mean, the cool thing in DeFi is, if you wanted to borrow money in kind of the real world, there's people who could tell us whether or not we could borrow money, and I'm sure, well, maybe not. You've all been to the bank and been told you can't borrow money, but that happens, And in this case, no one's told us we can. We put value in, and then we can take value out without asking anyone's permission. But there is this kind of problem that the responsibility kind of is with us to be aware of how much money we've got out, and it's in this ETH. This kind of weird ETH cryptocurrency, which is the price of the dollar goes up or down. So
well, as fun as it is to learn about these things and experiment, do it cautiously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to kind of enjoy the process and not only sort of look at the numbers and be to not be kind of obsessed and worried about it, but to try and enjoy some of the. Just enjoying the learning of it and the process of it as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you soon.